Welcome back to the Phoenix College Athletic Podcast. I'm Coach Cameron. I'm your host for episode 17 as we bring on the Hall of Famer, Christa Pfeninger, who is a current assistant coach for TWU, which is Texas Women's University, NCAA Division II. She's a Hall of Famer from PC because she won 6 national titles as an assistant coach to Heinz Mueller and 1 as a student athlete. Her career is amazing, and Phoenix College was part of her life, and we want to talk about that, all of this, on episode 17. Welcome. Welcome, Christa Pfeninger, to the Phoenix College Athletic Podcast. How are you doing?
Good.
So I appreciate you coming on the show, and, like all our athletic shows that we do on our podcast, we try to find significant student athletes that came to PC and try to get to know them a little bit better beyond the athletic field, as you are no longer playing. Are you playing anymore? Do you play?
No. After my slow pitch days, I gave it up. I'm getting too old.
All done now, huh?
I'm all done. Just coaching.
So, we kind of talked about your career and everything in the pre-show. So let's talk a little bit about why did you even come to Phoenix College? What was your path of even making that decision to come to Phoenix College?
My path was a little bit unique, but, more and more today, I'm finding that the path that I took to get to Phoenix College is becoming more and more popular. And a lot of it has to do with injury. Coming out of high school, I got a scholarship to go to the University of Oklahoma. And when I went there, I ended up getting injured, and I ended up having to have surgery. And I had shoulder surgery and I had knee surgery, and I had torn my ACL. And I was honestly ready to quit playing ball. It was just a lot to go through and a lot to come back from. I had really lost a lot of confidence in my ability to play because I was out for almost a year and a half, almost 2 years. And Heinz actually called me up and just said, you know what, we want you over here. He had initially recruited me out of high school, and I chose to go Division I. And, at that time I told him, I said, I'm not sure I want to play anymore. And he said, no, I want you over here. I want you to be here. And, going back to the junior college level is what really reignited my passion for the game and just my love of softball. And really it built my confidence. In my time at Phoenix College, it's almost as if I'm playing, Division I, Division II NCAA ball anyways there, because of the way that the program is ran and, so professionally, and just just the way that they carry themselves and the hard work that we put in day and day. And, going back just renewed who I was as an athlete. And, if it wasn't for my opportunity to go back junior college, because there was no way that I was going to be able to go back to the NCAA level without having a year of, mental recovery, physical recovery, psychological recovery. And, if it wasn't for having that junior college route, I don't think I would have continued playing ball. And, I was rated, one of the top recruits in coming out of Arizona when I first went in. And so, I'm very thankful every single day that opportunity was there for me, because at the end of the day, I ended up, getting my education and getting my bachelor's, and later on getting my master's degree. And that might not have been a route that I might have taken had I not had that opportunity.
That's an interesting thing you bring up, because I haven't really thought about that too much. I know it's I always think of athletes like myself and Jessica McDonald. We couldn't even qualify at the time to go NCAA, so we needed the 2-year system to help us qualify according to the NCAA rules at the time. But yeah, we get a lot of bounce backs where we have Division I athletes that'll go play at a Division I, and then the coaches changes, or they shut down their programs, or they can't afford it, or just something happens. So they, academically something, they come back to us, and we help them with that process. With every bounce back, So Division One, for the ones that don't know, if you're a Division One athlete and you come down to junior college, in order to go back, you have to graduate with a 2-year degree as well to qualify to go back Division One. So there's always those difficulties that student athletes deal with, and obviously we love having Division One athletes to coach, but we love helping student athletes like yourself that had to go through that process. So that was a story I did not know about you. So you were a Sooner. I
was for 1 year.
Wow, that was a big time program. So, so you get the injury, you come back to Phoenix College. How did the 2 years go for you at Phoenix College? I'm sure it went well since you were playing for softball.
Yeah.
So
I actually played 1 year at Phoenix College, and then I transferred out to the University of Utah. So I actually went back D1 after I transferred out. And my first year there, honestly, it's probably the most magical season that I've ever had. We won a national title. And I believe that was the first one that they had won. Previously, I think maybe they had won back many, many years ago. I'm not positive, but I know that one of ours was I know that but ours was one of the first ones at the D2 level. Mm-hmm. And it was, I made so many friends. My best friend that I've been best friends with now for probably 25 years is who I met at Phoenix College. And we played ball together, and it's hard to describe, because even though it's a commuter place, and I made so many friends, and it just felt like home to me. And it's one of the biggest reasons that I returned back and started coaching there, was because I loved what Phoenix College stood for. It was just as much about academics and the holistic part of, people first, and that combination of athletics. So in being there, I wasn't just a number. I wasn't just an athlete. I was a person. And that's probably one of the biggest things that drew me there, and why I came back to coach there, was because when I left, I already felt like family. And I don't know if it's just because I had a magical team, and we had such great chemistry. And don't get me wrong, we had our ups and downs. I think we finished the season at 500. We just happened to be very good at the right time, and were able to take home that national title. But once I experienced that, I realized that there was just something magical about being there, and that the program was just going to continue to rise. And, and that's a testament to Coach Mueller, because, he's done wonderful things with the program. And again, he's also a coach that cares very much about his athletes. And that was a very important piece and aspect of why I spent a good portion of my years there.
So Heinz Mueller, outside looking in, you would assume he's just like this mean guy, coach. And then ever since, because I was a student there, obviously, he had an aura about him, but he was always working. He was always doing his thing. So you just assumed, he's this mean guy. And then when you finally meet him and stuff, he's like the nicest guy in our department. You would never think that of him outside looking in. And he's the most gentle, nice person I know in the department, willing to help. You would never expect that from someone of, his stature. I guess him being, Hall of Famer of everything, and the amount of national titles he won as a coach, you just assume different. But he's just very detailed at his job. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants, and he's relentless at the details. Speaking of your injury, so Lisa Ruiz, was she the athletic trainer at that time, or was it Rigo or?
No, gosh, who was it? Back when I played, I don't even honestly remember her name, but it wasn't Lisa. Lisa was there during my coaching years.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because back when I was there, it was Rigo Hall, I believe.
It was a female that was there back when I was there in 2000. I just cannot remember her name.
Yeah, I didn't come back to PC until like 2002, and I think Lisa was pretty much in place by then.
By that point.
Yeah. So you go off to Utah. how was your experience there? How'd you guys do? You played 2 or 3 years there? No,
I
2 years.
had 2 years there. I
Yeah.
had 2 years because I played into my 5th year because I had to take a year off from my knee surgery. I actually had to redshirt.
Okay.
So that's why there's that year in between. And so I played 2 years up at Utah, and it was a great experience. That's probably where I grew the most. I think I was at a point where I was ready to be away from home. I think I was ready for the Division I level at that point. I think when I first went to OU, I think talent-wise, I was at that level. However, I don't think mentally and psychologically I was ready, and I got very homesick. And so when I went up to the Utah, just that year at Phoenix College, just I matured and I grew immensely. And so when I went to Utah, I was fully ready. I was equipped physically, emotionally, mentally, to go up there and to do work while I was there. And so I had 2 wonderful years there. We went to regionals both years that I was there. And lo and behold, we actually got kicked out by OU in my senior year. But I had a really magical time. Again, I made a lot of friends. The campus was beautiful. I graduated with my kinesiology degree, and I really, really enjoyed my time up there. And Coach Mona Stevens was amazing, and she was a wonderful coach. I've been very fortunate throughout my college career and playing time to have some really great mentors and great coaches that I played for.
That's awesome. So speaking of mentorship, who would you say besides Heinz Mueller was a mentor to you at Phoenix College, and why?
I would definitely have to say Sassy Signs, who is one of my best friends now. We've known each other since 2004 from when I was at Phoenix College. And I know when I first got there, I knew a lot about the athletic side of PC, and I got put into the fitness center. I was fortunate enough to get a job in there. And, day one, she befriended me and, made me feel incredibly comfortable, and just, gave me a lot of confidence from the strength and conditioning side of things. Cause I was newly just kind of dipping my foot into the water on the strength and conditioning side of things. And she really helped me gain confidence in my ability to be a great instructor. And it didn't take very long before we became really great friends. And still to this day, she's one of my best friends. And, I'll never forget, what she did for me, and still to this day does.
Yeah, we love Ceci. She's still there in the fitness center at Phoenix College. We love
yes.
her. So let's talk a little bit about your coaching career. So you transitioned from a player to a coach. And I believe you started at Phoenix College. You came back to Phoenix College to start your coaching career. So
correct. Yeah, right out of college.
How'd that work? You just contacted Heinz, or what happened?
Here's the funny part. So when I graduated and went on to Utah, Heinz actually told me, as soon as you graduate from Utah, I'm going to call you and you're going to come coach for me. And this was right when I was leaving PC. And I looked at him and I said, no, I don't think so. I said, when I'm done playing ball, I'm done. I don't really have any interest in coaching. And he said, no, I'm going to call you. And he wasn't joking. As soon as I graduated, he got on the phone and called me and asked me to coach. And I actually turned him down the first year. And I went and I did a babysitting gig. I worked at a daycare for a year. And I thought to myself, what are you doing? This is not the life you want. Like, you live, eat, and breathe softball. It is who you are. Defines what you are. This is what you love in life. And you have this amazing opportunity to begin your coaching career collegiately. What are you doing? And I ended up talking to him on the phone that very next year, and boom, I ended up coaching.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm sure he obviously saw that in you, that you were a coach, and you just didn't recognize it. So it's probably good you took a year off kind of to realize that versus just jump in. So you're similar to Heinz to me. You just have nothing but championships. I don't know about your youth career, but I know at Horizon High School you won a state title there, and at Phoenix College you won a national title as a student athlete there, and then you come back. So let's talk a little bit about your coaching career as an assistant coach with Heinz Mueller. How was your success? Let's.
You know, you look back and you look at the big picture of things, and you look at all the titles that we have won, over those numerous years, and there is so much more to the process and the journey. It wasn't that easy when I first got there. I felt like when I came in, I had something to prove. I was that typical coach that came in and I felt like I had to prove myself. And, the biggest thing that Hines did for me is he gave me so much autonomy. He said, Christa, here's the bullpen. Here you go, do your thing. And he never micromanaged me. He always called me his pit bull, which I find kind of funny. I laugh about it now. Before I was like, man, please don't refer to me as that. And I look at it now, and we were such a great complement to one another. And I know he loved me, like I was one of his kids, and I loved him as if he was, my father. We would bicker back and forth just as much as we would, banter and have a great time. But at the end of the day, I always knew he had my back and I always had his. And it was more about a family. And the reason that we won as many titles as we did, beyond the great athleticism that we had in a lot of our kids, was we just had a magical coaching staff between myself and Hines and Buzz and Dallas at the time. The four of us really are what kicked off those titles. And it was just, we had every coach in place and every coach that did exactly what was necessary to get the job done at the level that it needed to be done. And we meshed very well. And, over a certain period of time, it just became a tradition. And when you came in to play for Phoenix College softball, you didn't come in, you came in with an expectation of winning. But that takes time, and that's a process. And, so those early years, they were not always easy, but it definitely got easier as we went. And I think it really helped our student athletes with how close our coaching staff was, and just the respect that we had for one another and the love that we had for one another. And, my 10 years, I think it was 10 years I was there, is something I will never forget. It's really tough when you start high, because then you kind of have nowhere to go in your coaching career. Most people start from the bottom to work to the top. I feel like I hit the jackpot right out of the chute. And now I'm just working to try to sustain that and build a program here at TWU. I mean, I have, great plans and envision so many great things, but I wouldn't have that vision if I didn't have the experience that I had at PC when I was there coaching.
So how many national titles did you win as a coach?
Oh man, I want to say 8. I have a total of 10. So it's 8 or 9.
So
that's 8 because
8.
I have 2 as a player. Okay. So 8.
That's amazing. I have 1. I have 1. I'll take it. So, to win 1 is pretty amazing, but to win 8, I mean, that has be an amazing feeling for you. And all serious, I mean, softball is almost bankrupt Phoenix College for the amount of rings that they had to buy over the years. So we're always scared they're gonna win another one. That's a lot of rings to spend. I mean,
no, I think they're due. I think they're due to get another one here.
They are different. I've obviously been there a long time, and last year, they're always top 3 in the country. But when they walked in this past year, they look different. I mean, it looked like ASU Division I athletes were walking through the halls. They're like, no, they're different. I mean, they're different. You could tell.
Yeah, and it's getting harder and harder.
Yeah. So from Phoenix College, you went to South Mountain Community College. So how was that transition? I mean, you went to South Mountain, and then you got to compete against Heinz Mueller. How was that?
Wow. I thoroughly enjoyed my time at South. I think that Heinz did a wonderful job of equipping me in going over there and getting my first head job. But it was also very mixed feelings for me. It was very tough for me to coach against him because there was 50% of me that wanted to beat him so badly, and 50% of me that was happy when they were successful. So it was honestly a big emotional battle for me. in the
Right.
5 or 6 years that I was over there. I can't remember what year it was, but when we played them in the championship game, I was honestly I was thrilled to be there. That was probably one of the biggest things that I told myself that I wanted when I went over there, was to give myself a chance to try to beat him in a championship game in regionals, and to try to get myself there. But, I'm a very realistic person too. I know that, building a program is process, and it takes time at the end of the day. So, but I thoroughly enjoyed my time over at South as well. And I got my feet wet very quickly in our conference, because it is very difficult, and it's a dog eat dog type of world. But I wouldn't take it back for anything. But I'm definitely saying I'm happy now that I don't have to compete against him, and that I can actually, recruit his kids now.
Yeah, that must be nice. So you're now at Texas Women's University.
Yeah.
How's your time there, and explain the transition? What's the difference between the NCAA and junior college?
My time here so far has been amazing. I absolutely love it here. I love what our institution stands for. It's very much a family atmosphere here. Our institution is incredibly beautiful. There are so many resources here. I never realized until going from the JUCO level to the NCAA level. Notably, probably one of the biggest things is the number of rules. There are a tremendous amount of rules that you have to abide by at the NCAA level. But it's nice just being able to just coach. I know at the JUCO level, I had to coach plus work in the fitness center or do strength and conditioning. And it's really nice to be able to just put 100% of my time into coaching, and to put everything that I have into the athletes that we have here. And recruiting here is much easier as well. I mean, I have the entire country that I can go out and recruit at, and so that's also been very fun as well. And just notably, some of just, the CARA hours that we have here, because we have specific hours that we're allowed to work with the athletes. And sometimes that can be very challenging. Whereas at the junior college level, we can spend much time as we want with our athletes. But, it's finding that happy medium there as well. But I've really enjoyed my time up here. And being at TW is much different than what it was for me at PC, because when I was at PC, I was already working with athletes that had a very high softball IQ and already had, very high athletic talent. And coming into TW, we are really rebuilding our program. And I think for me, this is a great challenge. I think it's exactly what I need in my career right now, because like I said, I've won a lot of titles, and not to say that ever gets old. It does not. But, a new challenge as a coach, I love to be challenged. And for the first time, I'm finding the beauty in developing a program. And it's really amazing. And I look forward to what the next 3 to 5 years is, going to look like here, because, Coach Barker and myself, we're out recruiting every weekend, and our team is just getting better and better, and just owning that process, and, potentially looking back a few years from now and saying, yeah, we did this. There's something special about that, just as much as it is special about winning titles.
Yeah, the toughest job in America in college is definitely JUCO.
Yes.
It's recruiting nonstop every year and having like 20 different jobs. I mean, I'm doing a podcast, and that's kind of that's one of my duties in the department, and it's endless. And it would be nice just to coach, and that just doesn't exist at our level, just because of financial restraints, I'm sure. But it's exciting watching your career, and you make Phoenix College proud. Just to continue your career, and we're excited to have you on the podcast, obviously. Last thing, you're a Hall of Famer. You're a Phoenix College Athletic Hall of Famer. I was there that night, and that was a special night. And from listening to you and all the great words you said, it was a special night for you. So why was that night? I mean, obviously, being a Hall of Famer, I mean, being inducted, it is a special night. So what was the the biggest memory of that night, and just kind of give us your thoughts on what your feelings were at the time, and being inducted to the Hall of Fame. What does that mean to you, being part of Phoenix College forever?
Being inducted into the Hall of Fame was probably one of the biggest highlights of my life. And I say that because, my footprint will forever be embedded in Phoenix College. I will never forget where my roots lie. Phoenix College was my first home. It was a family to me. It will always be a family. I still to this day have many, many, many connections to PC, and just knowing that I will forever, when I'm 70 and 80 years old, I will still be a part of Phoenix College, and I will still be a part of Phoenix College softball. And that's probably one of the most important things to me. So getting into the Hall of Fame, it was not as much about, important for me as far as the accomplishments or what any of those accomplishments stood for. It was just knowing that, I put my bare paw print into that, college for the rest of my life. And, that night was incredibly special, because I don't think that in all my years that I worked with Hines that I really ever took the time to tell him what he meant to me. And that night gave me an opportunity. I cried like a baby. Yeah. He had to get up and console me at the end of the day. But, I think that was really the first time that he was able to see the sincere appreciation that I have for his mentorship, and just, just for him to know and understand how much I really truly loved him. So, I think that was probably the most important part of being inducted.
Yeah. Like I said, I was there, and it was a special night. It was so fun to watch you share your many memories of Phoenix College, and we appreciate you. We love watching your career at TWU, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and all the best, and you make Phoenix College proud. So thank you so much, Christa, being on the podcast, and we'll see you soon, I'm sure.
Yes, you're very welcome, and I loved being a part of your podcast, and anytime you just let me know anything I can do to support PC. I'm 100% involved in jumping in the deep end for you every time.
All right, awesome. I appreciate it. We'll definitely have you on soon as we can. We'll probably talk to you again in 2021.
Sounds great.
All right, thank you.
It's the benchmark for what student-athlete success is all about here at Phoenix College. It's the Student-Athlete Scholastic Success Program. It's helped our more than 250 student-athletes get a better education and a better chance at a 2-year and 4-year degree. Find out how a little sass is making a big difference at PC.